Welcome back to another episode, my lords, ladies and gentlemen. I hope this finds you well this fine Tuesday, even though when you hear this again on a semi-professional level, it will be a Friday. Welcome. I hope the Earth's still standing. Bob, how you going? How's things where you are?
Yeah, things are good. It's been a bad week really because yesterday Desmond Morris died.
Oh
And
no.
those people who don't know Desmond Morris, he's probably one of the leading lights in behavioural analysis, if you want to call it that, of humans. Yeah, he passed away last evening. I put a post on this morning about it. He's in his
Oh man.
90s, so it wasn't unusual, I suppose. But it's a
Yeah.
great loss. Never one who grabbed the
Oh, what a
limelight,
shame.
but was very
Yeah.
good.
I had no idea. Oh, I mean, let's all sack it off. Let's all go and talk about Desmond Morris instead now. I mean, wow. I did. That's kind of depressing. I mean, the Naked Ape, People Watching,
Yeah,
phenomenal books, phenomenal
yeah,
books.
yeah,
Um,
definitely.
yeah. Oh, I had no idea. Um, well, it seems almost a shame. Well, it's definitely a shame to change gears. I want to talk about Desmond now and his work, but maybe we can do that. Maybe we can do that next week instead. We can do a
Yes, I think
we can
that
do
would
a
make a good one.
yeah. We'll do a
Yeah,
we'll do a special episode next week dedicated to
I
the
would
the
I would
work of
say though that he
Desmond
would
Morris.
be very happy with what we're going to talk about tonight. It's right up his
Oh,
alley.
for sure. Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure. Um, so yeah, we're really looking at conditioning and
Mm.
the notion of behavioural entrainment. I mean, we've all done it. We're all part of it. I mean, we as British men, English men, we have an almost national pastime of conditioning in the form of queuing.
Yeah.
And nobody ever really taught us how to do it. I think I would need fact checking on this as well, but it's just popped into my head. I think there was an experiment involving monkeys and conditioning in some way, where there were a group of four in their enclosure wherever they are, and they'd kind of drop a banana down and on like a rope or something, and agitate one of the monkeys so that it fought the others, and there'd be a big fight, and then they'd take
Yeah.
one out. They bring the banana down again, agitate a different monkey. The new monkey now in there doesn't really know what's happening, but he just starts fighting anyway, and they cycle it out
Yeah.
so that eventually the sight of the banana just causes outrage amongst the monkeys. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe the Pavlov model would be a more palatable expression of that. But
Yeah.
what's your experience been of conditioning? Not in a what's the term? A Manchurian candidate sense.
Yeah, well, it's everywhere, isn't it? We are all conditioned to behave in certain ways. It's a social thing. It's another element of social proof.
Mm,
We align with the group's expectations, or what is expected of us, which is the queuing thing. I've got
mm.
no idea where the queuing came from. I should think that knowing the British, it's going to have some colonial negative
Yeah,
story attached to it. But
probably.
it's just behaviours that we do that are reinforced, and it's the basis of so much. It's the basis of coaching. It's a basis of counselling as well. Is
Mm,
that you break you and the with coaching you and counselling, you're reinforcing positive conditioning and
mm,
reconditioning to be in a certain place.
mm.
We come across it more often than not now, unfortunately, in a negative perspective,
Yeah.
um, because it's got lots of positive uses, doesn't it? It builds consistency and
Hmm.
continuity. And if you're being coached in a certain way, it can also give you high performing habits, I suppose.
Mm,
But on the other side, it can have the negative effect, the negative side of that as well, if you're not
yeah,
careful.
yeah. One of the things that I stumbled across only quite recently, within the past couple of years, was a Steve Hassan's bite model as a
Uh,
as an analytical framework. But if you anchor it almost immediately in documented case material rather than theory, the bite model, for those that are unaware, it's basically four channels of control. It's
yeah,
behavior, information, thought, and uh, emotional. And
yeah,
what makes it, trying to think of a good adjective, what makes it forensically useful
yeah,
is really that it's not describing what cults do in extreme moments.
yeah,
It's more describing what they do, on a Tuesday in week two of a new person's involvement, right?
yeah,
And once you have an awareness of those four things as a way to um, induce a kind of control, almost, there is a freedom in how you question those
yeah,
four elements, right? So what about someone, or even some locations behavior? I'm thinking about during COVID, where during the shops they tried to make you do the one-way system,
yeah,
right? So there was a locational impression on trying to inform behavior, and there was information around with
yeah,
regard to why the one-way systems are there. And we're
yeah,
thinking, well, they're doing it in front, they're doing it in front, do I have to go down this aisle just to come back up, even though the thing I want is right
yeah,
there, which then connects towards your emotion, which then might connect towards the
yeah,
information, and it gives you a better
yeah,
channel for critiquing those kind of things. It's like information before any kind of uh, um, in any kind of indoctrination. Intelligence doesn't guarantee influence. If you can't communicate and do so clearly, your ideas die in translation. Productive communications teaches you how to understand behavior, how to navigate tension, and how to create real clarity in conversation. No manipulation, no scripts, just behavioral insight applied correctly. So if you want fewer misunderstandings and more control in conversation, go to omniscient-insights.com/procoms, or right here. It's
yes.
happening. That might be a bit extreme. Uh, what do you think about that?
I think what you said about the pandemic, I mean, that was
Mm,
a once in a lifetime event that we've lived through. And if it happened again or something very similar to it, we would never, ever get the compliance, I don't think,
yeah.
again.
No.
Because it was a once in a lifetime thing. And it was that there was lots of messaging and all that sort of thing, which, and the pattern was established that every night they would come on the TV, they would always
Mm,
have the slogan. So there was a lot of behavioural nudging there. But what they did is well, it's the extreme example, isn't it? Because the reward was that you didn't get COVID.
yeah.
What they did well with it is they established the patterns like you talk about within the supermarkets where you went a certain way.
Mm,
And I've seen it with companies. I've seen them do it now where they give like little micro rewards for people
yeah.
for playing ball if you want, or for doing what they want you to do. For fitting in with the pattern, you get slight little rewards. Even
Mm,
if their rewards are just a little slogan somewhere or something
yeah.
saying, "Well done, you've completed this." And it
Yeah.
really does work. It makes people feel that they want to buy into it because we want to buy into it anyway, especially
Hmm.
if we're told everyone else is doing it.
Yeah.
Then the social proof part of it makes us want to do it.
Yeah.
We all want to be praised, and get promoted or get some benefit.
mm,
And it's how lots of things work. I remember seeing a video from the City of London Police, I think it was, about saying how people can get your details very easily. And
yeah,
they established a new pattern where people were going into a coffee shop, and outside the coffee shop was someone saying you can get a free donut if you like our Facebook page or whatever it was.
mm,
And through that, they got their details because they asked them a few more questions. And then their people away from it were showing just how easy it was to get information about those people. And they were writing it all on the side of a cup that they were giving them,
yeah,
the Starbucks thing.
yeah,
That's established a pattern. There's a reward involved in it, and there's people queuing up to get it. So it's all there, the social proof, the pattern that's been established, and everyone's getting a reward for it. So it is
mm,
conditioning.
mm,
And, in the work we do, we condition people all the time. That's why I get a little bit peeved when these body language experts say, oh, he did that, it means that. You can't do that sort of thing unless you've actually tapped in
mm,
to the patterns that they're
mm,
using, to the conditions and the
yeah,
conditioning that has occurred. What are they? Are they in an interview? Are they doing this? Are they doing that? And once you get the patterns of behavior and work out what the conditions are that that person's operating under, then you can make sense of what they're actually doing.
mm,
And then you are best best placed to nudge that behavior.
mm, mm. I completely agree. Shockingly, right? But it's almost like these body language videos have a degree of bite and conditioning about them, but in terms of the reinforcement of pre-held beliefs. If someone
Yeah,
says, like, if this apparent scientist says something that you thought, your opinion is validated. You don't question. You don't question that further because it echoed yours.
yeah,
The full bite made
yeah,
sense to you, so
yeah,
it's
yeah,
compounded further. Like I was toying with the idea of doing a series of completely honest, like, human behavior reviews. Just sit down and go, here's what normally happens, here's the truth. Here's what normally happens, here's the truth.
yeah,
Just
sure.
we have the intellectual sex appeal. Just make it sexless but
Yeah,
true.
yeah,
you know, and being the needy one for the limelight at times that I am.
yeah,
There's I used to get questions about how you can do that kind of like OSINT, but in real life. And with the whole donut and the cup fiasco. Um, God, that sounds like a Sherlock Holmes novel, The Adventure of the Cups and
yeah,
Donuts. Of course, I went there, but I would get questions like, "Well, what can you tell just from a basic conversation? Like, not in a silly sort of, well, I've
yeah,
seen this scratch, so it means not none of that. Like,
yeah,
so it would be things like, um, did you choose the code that you used to lock your phone because it was easy to remember or because it meant something to you? And to me, from where I am, they both mean the same thing.
yeah,
If you're choosing it because it's easy to remember, I know it's
yeah,
likely going to be dates and years. If it means something to you, it's likely going to be dates and years. So that already takes the plethora. I mean, between 4 and 6 digits of whatever it is, down to, like, if I meet a 30-year-old person, it's likely going to be a wedding or a
yeah,
recent birth, just based on,
yeah,
like, Gale Sheehy and stats and these types of things. And you break down the logic of this kind of scenario, and it doesn't take a hostile actor long to be able to figure out
yeah,
specific points about you, like from a Facebook picture and a
yeah,
and a and a flippant conversation. One of the things that I keep seeing when I did some work for a dating agency in terms of some profiling content for dodgy people,
yeah,
I came
yeah.
across this term, love bombing,
Mm,
as a kind of structured positive reinforcement but
Yeah.
on some kind of schedule. You know,
Yeah.
it's the variable reward. It wasn't incidental. It was the mechanism. You know, it's connected towards a neurological dependency on the
Yeah.
dopamine that you get from the reward of being love bombed, which creates the condition of being dependent or needed or codependency and all of these types of things.
Yeah.
It's the isolation as a
Yeah.
as a it's like a drug is really the word that I'm looking for. It's like you've become a drug addict of sorts and you can't function without it. When really
Mm.
all of the chemicals are in here. You just need
Yeah.
the pattern to facilitate that you mentioned. And
Yeah.
these are some of the things that pop up in day-to-day work. I mean, it's entirely referenced to social proof. Oh, the name's just gone. Influence. Robert Cialdini.
Here's the truth. Clarity under pressure isn't natural. It's trained. Axiom is a cognitive framework, one that is designed to improve your reasoning, to improve your memory, and then the subsequent decision making that goes along with that. Not theory focused, not just inspirational quotes, mental architecture. So if you want to think clearly and do so when it counts, go to omniscient-insights.com/axiom or right there. Because in chaos, the clear thinker wins.
Yeah.
A person's reference group is engineered. The behavioral benchmarks are engineered with it,
Yeah.
so on and so forth. The kind of the exit cost becomes
Yeah.
the conditioning tool almost in
Yeah.
that situation. You know,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that's why a lot of people can't break their conditioning, because the cost of admitting that some kind of change needs to happen can be a version of painful for the individual, right?
Yeah, exactly. When conditioning is done well and done for positive means, then it does build consistency, like you said,
Mm,
and people become disciplined.
mm,
And it is, there I um, remember one of my sons had a teacher at school, and he was very much liked, and he created patterns in the classroom that people wanted to be part of,
yes.
etc. And it was good because it coordinated them, it made them work harder. But I think you have to be careful even in that environment, because you could, to get that reward that they, because he was giving micro rewards and everything,
Mm,
which is through
mm,
praise and this sort of
mm,
thing. But if you're not careful, then you could overwork them. I know my son was overworking himself a little bit because of it.
yeah.
And you've got to be careful, especially in the learning environment. And I know it from when I'm doing it, is, working that is, because it can sort of stifle dissent, can't it?
Oh
People
yeah.
won't argue. And it'll also, and I did a course not long ago, and I wanted to show how social proof works and everything. And I just asked a question, I won't frame it as I did it there, but I did the nudges and everything. I said to them,
Oh,
so just, looking at one person. So how'd you rate the course so far? 7 or 8, isn't it? And then you go along and they all fall in. They all say 7 or 8
yeah.
because
Yeah.
you've set the pattern and they follow the pattern. So it can be, that I was doing it that way to show how easy it is. But obviously, as we've discussed before, it's white to black out, isn't it?
Mm,
And
mm,
most people like us operate in the grey in the middle.
yeah.
But if you go right over to the black, then you can use these type of techniques because it does stifle decision making. And
Oh, gotcha.
and when you do make decisions, it will be approved decisions by the
Mm,
group. So, and and that's one way to spot this sort of behavior happening. Is I can
mm,
remember, um, I can't remember what I was doing now, but I remember there was a group of people, and they were all sort of talking, and one of them was talking, but every time he made a comment or made a decision to make a comment, he would look at the other guy and nod towards him
Mm,
as if to say, "Is this okay?"
mm,
That's when it's bad. That's when you know that you've got a conditioned environment,
yeah.
which is probably not really viable in any meaningful way.
Mm, mm.
And the words, "Oh, this is how we do it." It doesn't matter whether it's this way. This is the way we do it because the group says we do it that way.
I love it. I love those. Like, I've always been like this. What
Yeah,
you were born being, I don't know, insert whatever personality quirk is in reference at the time. Yeah,
yeah,
it cracks me up. And even the notion of conditioning itself, it doesn't support critical thinking, or
no,
at least the awareness of bringing reasoning level skills in. I mean, the amount of times
yeah,
I've been stood in a queue and just turned around,
yeah,
like it,
yeah,
it seems to cause like a complete record scratch moment for everyone. And there's been some awful
yeah,
situations of this social entrainment. I think it was described by Christakis and Fowler, in their contagion work. But then there's operant conditioning from Skinner as well, and classical conditioning of Pavlov territory. But I mean, there's that one thing that's always cited of that poor young girl that's being attacked and lost her life, and because some people were leaning out of the window, thought she was playing, crying for help. Nobody
yeah,
helped her because this idea passed around. There was a situation on a train in America in like 2010 to
yeah,
2012, somewhere around then, where this woman
yeah,
was being attacked, and because one person got their phone out because they thought it was like a piece of street theater or some kind of
yeah,
performance or a prank, everyone did. And they just filmed this poor young woman being attacked. But like on the flip side of it, um, Dick and Dom, children's TV presenters extraordinaire, they started a game, Bogies, classic. And it was about who could say bogies the loudest in public situations, and all that is just a break of social conditioning,
yeah,
in those situations
yeah,
to cause a shift in. I mean,
yeah,
it was for grins and giggles, of course it was, but these are all the moments of conditioning that we are all party to, that we are
yeah,
all at an influence of. Like, if you are irritated and you kind of clench your teeth together, congratulations, that's been conditioned into you. I'm not quibbling over whether it's nature nurture or learned
yeah,
or any of that stuff. It's been conditioned into you, so it's just
yeah,
something that happens before you're even consciously aware of it. And
yeah,
it happens in workplaces, relationships, politics, media
yeah,
consumption, all of it. And it's all there. um, uh, uh, the I think it's called the compliance ladder. uh, uh,
yeah,
I know there's Noel Birch's ladder, but that's ladder of competence. And it was a 1966 study, and it was about these kind of small compliance conditions and how each one leads to the next and leads to the next and leads to the next, in terms of bigger and bigger and bigger requests. Like, if you can gain an access point of like, pass me that pen, would you mind putting the kettle on, can you help me with my homework, and just gradually scaling the yes.
yeah.
Salespeople make a lot of use of it as well.
They do. Yeah,
It's
they do.
it's it's a it's a naughty thing to be aware
Um,
of. But with Byte Model, you've got a break free code. Go on.
yeah, yes, it is very in any targeted where you're target driven role like sales where you see it a lot. And that's where you can see the patterns playing themselves out.
Mm,
Um, we've talked about the sort of reward signals, but there is the other side of that. It's the penalty signals that they send
Mm,
out sometimes,
mm,
like silence,
mm,
exclusion, and all that within the group. Um, when they, so a person would be less likely to deviate away from it. Um,
mm,
and I've actually seen it. I was in a coffee shop and I saw it. We nearly always pay on the apps now,
mm.
and someone paid on the app and they saw it come up on the till and it had gone up 30, 40 pence the cup of
Yeah.
coffee. So they questioned it and they just said, "Oh yeah, it's a new price." And the woman just said, "Oh, okay, fine." So she'd gone away from it. She'd shown, but
Oh
she'd just
dear.
gone back because she was playing down her own decisions to
Yeah.
fall in with the decisions of the group who have said we've got to put it up. So
Oh God.
it's and on the other side of that, where I saw it when I were breaking that pattern, is another coffee shop which was an independent, where it actually had on the table prices have gone up. Please be aware prices have gone up because
Yeah.
we always pay our staff above the minimum wage. So that's completely outside of what we're talking about.
Absolutely.
But it's the same as we become accustomed, which we shouldn't do,
Mm.
especially in the situation we're in now, that we're going to pay more for petrol on the motorway
Yeah.
because
Oh
it's the
God.
pattern that's been established that it is the motorway, so you pay more. How did that happen? I don't know, but we all do it, or we try and avoid doing it, but we would do it. And that the Costas or the service station are going to be, or the whatever you call them, where you go for something to eat,
Ridiculous.
are all going to be more
Yeah.
expensive just because it's a motorway. How's that right?
I
But it's a
don't get it.
pattern. We've been conditioned to accept it.
I mean, yeah, the service stations, man, it gets me every time. If I ever have to drive long distance, I will always make sure I've got more than enough fuel
Yeah,
to get to where I'm going, or I will actively detour off the motorway, go and find somewhere
yeah,
for fuel,
yeah,
and then go back because it I mean, I don't even know if there is a supposedly a little nugget of reason why it should be more expensive, but
yeah,
I don't understand how geography shifts that. But we can do this ourselves. It can be things like,
yeah,
what behavior do I repeat in environment
yeah,
X that I would not choose if I were entering it fresh? You can
yeah,
identify signals from conditioned behavior that way, whether it's an automatic response,
yeah,
some kind of discomfort, or some kind of
yeah,
rationalization of a thought that you're getting into. It's like when people first started to question the read technique, and
yeah,
then peace came in, and then ethical
yeah,
interviewing, and
yeah.
the evolution of those patterns are needed because someone went,
Yes,
no, 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 that's the wrong way because of da
yeah,
da 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 da, and brought
yeah,
fresh light to it.
yeah, yeah. And with those sort of things, it goes hand in hand with recognizing that humans are all different. So
Absolutely.
just doing the same thing, just we always do it that way. It doesn't work in those sort of environments. The other one I was thinking of that I remember before we had so many motorways. I'm going back quite a few years now, and it was mostly A roads, and it was the Little
Right.
Chef, which was
Yeah.
probably the most overpriced, not in my view, not very good meals in there, but everyone went there. There'd be
Mm,
cars queuing up because it was back in those days, and I'm going back quite a few years when you went on holiday mostly in the
mm,
UK.
mm,
They're the sort of place you went, and I often thought about why do you go there? And then I thought to myself, it's because my parents, and I suppose a lot of people before, we didn't have a car. So we always went
mm.
on coaches on holiday, even if it was going to Great Yarmouth or wherever
Yeah.
from where we lived. And that's where they always stopped.
Yeah.
So when we got cars, we just followed the same. We were conditioned to do exactly the same. We went there
Yeah.
and it was part of the holiday. So it gave you a good feeling. You was getting that, I suppose, what you get now, the dopamine rush that you'd get now with these online things that we do. It's a very similar thing. Things don't change. The cycle brings it into something else, doesn't it?
Mm. Absolutely. I mean, absolutely. It's like you look at Pavlov and the dog. Why would you salivate when the bell rings? If
Yeah.
an ice cream man drives past anywhere, I
Yes.
don't care if you're 2 or 52, there is a
Yeah.
little child within you that goes mental for a
Yes.
moment and just wants to run outside and get yourself a 99 with a flake.
Yeah.
This is conditioning, and we're not for a minute suggesting that, wow, you got to put your tinfoil hat on in order to see what they're really getting at. Not none of that. None of that. All it's really analyzing is
Yeah.
what behavioral patterns are you involved in that happen without a great degree of conscious awareness.
Yeah.
That's it. Second you take
Yeah.
stock of them, you're in a better position to critique them. We'll call that my final thoughts. Bob, what about your
So,
good self?
well, along the same routes, I suppose. I think conditioning is it's not good or bad, is it? It's
No.
somewhere in between them. It's a false multiplier, if you want
Yeah.
to call it that. And I would say, as a bit of a sales thing here, to get people to actually learn about behaviour and get more equipped with the skills to notice behaviour, because the advantage really does go to
Mhm.
those who can see it happening. Because if you can see it, then you can shape it and you can step outside of it as well when you need to.
So, I mean, I don't know if you can see, you haven't got the camera feed onto you. Just call me Hen. She's been watching the podcast for a while. She just said, I just refrained from running out to the ice cream man.
Well, there's a bell going.
That was it. It must have been. It must have been. But I mean, but you're absolutely right, Bob. You're absolutely right. Just call me Anne. It's nice to see you. Kind of. I mean, I know it's a username and all that kind of stuff. It's been a while, but with
Well,
that in mind, folks.
I'll say, Ben, it's nice to know that someone is listening because otherwise we just talk to one another, aren't we?
That's it. Yeah.
So
Well, there you
it is
go.
good to know that someone's there.
We are at risk of our own echo chambers that way, and if
Exactly.
we've got these outside forces, that's the best way to be, especially if it's somebody that's just as happy to see the ice cream man as I am.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah.
So, folks, with that in mind, we shall love you and leave you as ever. We can only encourage you to subscribe to the podcast if you haven't already. No conditioning here, but the second you do click on the subscription bell, you get to see our beautiful faces a whole lot more. So maybe factor that in as much as you can. So with that in mind, we'll love you and leave you, and we'll see you again soon.